Praise the Lord, New Liberty family. I am so excited to be here with our very own District Elder, Associate Pastor, Trenton Noble. Thank you so much for doing this with me, sir. I
Glad to be
appreciate
here.
it.
Glad to be here.
All right, so we are continuing the series here on getting to know the pastors and having a conversation with leadership. So let's ask you a few questions. All right, let's get this right out the way.
Okay.
I know, because you told me that you grew up in Chicago.
Yep.
All right, so who's your favorite team or player?
In Chicago?
Yeah.
Okay. So of course, we got to go Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
If I'm going football, right, it would probably be Brian Urlacher for the Bears, linebacker.
Okay. Favorites. Okay.
Yep.
All right. What was it like growing up in Chicago?
So I grew up in the suburbs on the outskirts. It was cool. I had a active childhood.
Okay.
My parents kept us busy, sports all year round, band, different things like that. So I had a typical childhood
Okay.
upbringing, church, right?
Okay.
Grew up in the church. My parents, were pew baby. So
Okay.
pew baby grew up in the church. Played sports, basketball, football, baseball.
Oh wow. What was your favorite out of all those?
Football. Well,
Football.
baseball was my first love.
Okay.
And I wish I probably would have stayed with that. I probably wouldn't have got hurt.
Really?
But football, yeah, that
Okay.
was my thing. I got to play a little collegiate football,
Oh,
little D2
nice.
ball before I got hurt.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh,
So yeah,
okay.
but typical pew
That's
baby,
exciting.
busy church stuff. So I mean, yeah.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Okay, so you've let me know that you're from Chicago, but so what brought you here to Michigan?
Okay. So both of my parents are originally from Detroit. So we
Okay.
would spend summers here, Christmases, holidays, and everything. So all my cousins my age were here.
Here. Okay.
And so after I got hurt playing in college, I got saved. So I didn't get saved until I was 18,
Okay.
18, 19. I was in school, and then I got saved during the Christmas break,
Okay.
Thanksgiving, Christmas
Okay.
break. So when I went back that January for the new semester, it wasn't the best fit for me anymore.
Yeah.
So I decided, I was going to go home, right? Decided to leave after that semester. Came home, was at my parents' house, was like, I don't want to be here no more. So I was like, where can I go? Quick, fast, in a hurry. I applied to a couple of schools. Wayne State accepted me.
Okay.
Quick, fast, in a hurry. I had never been to the campus, never been there. They accepted me. I said, I'm going to Detroit.
Okay.
And I came, and the rest is history.
Wow.
And I haven't left since. So I came in 2010 to go to school at Wayne State. I thought I was going to kick it with my cousins and family and stuff like that.
Right.
I thought I was going to hang out. Came here. Fell in love with the city, with the church, and I've been here ever since.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's what brought you through the doors of New Liberty. So was it because you had family here or?
Okay. Yeah, so this is considered, I guess, our family church.
Okay.
Josh Brown is my cousin. I didn't have a car, so he was picking me up, taking me to church, right?
Okay.
I grew up PCAF, Pentecostal Churches of the Apostolic Faith. So I thought I was going to go to a PCAF church because that's kind of all I knew.
Right.
But when I came to New Liberty, it was different. Felt the love, and once I came in, I just didn't leave.
Wow.
And this church here today, which is why I'm still here in Michigan today, is solely basically because of New Liberty.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay. Now, how did you know that you were called to the ministry? Okay. And then did you try to avoid the calling?
Yeah. So I feel like I thought I was going to be a preacher ever since I was little.
Okay.
We would church kids, we play church. I would be the one that would have to preach. Like, hey, you got to preach, stuff like that. I would play in my dad's robes. I think they got pictures of me, kind of walking around the house playing in his robes. But I guess more seriously, I think I was asking the Lord what was it that I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I asked him to show me through a dream because I wanted to see it.
Oh, wow.
And the first time that after I prayed that prayer, And I'm not trying to be morbid or anything, right? I was preaching my dad's funeral.
Oh,
I was preaching his
wow.
funeral. So
Wow.
I remember the text. I remember basically the points, so I vividly remember it. I was like, no, that can't be,
Right.
like, Doc, you all right? Asking my dad, yeah,
Right.
everything cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine, had the dream again.
Mm.
But this time it was the same dream, but it was a different vantage point. So I saw
Okay.
myself. So then, I kind of ran a little bit, and then Bishop Boone, I think we had a conversation. He's like, hey, it was becoming more and more pressing, like, hey, it's time, you got to do this.
Mm.
I talked to Bishop Boone. He said, hey, we're not gonna play around with this. He's like, I already know. And then he just it
Wow.
took me off running. I think from the time I told him I was doing my trial sermon, like a 2 or 3 weeks later, it was
Oh.
it was it was something crazy fast. And I'm like, Doc, are you sure? Maybe it was about a
Oh, that's
month, but it
fast.
was,
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, he pushed me and he saw it too. So he just kind of confirmed everything.
Hmm. Okay. Very interesting. All right. So, when you were growing up, who would you say was your biggest inspiration or your biggest motivator?
I would probably have to say my father.
Okay.
Um, he was the true example of what a man of God should be. And I kind of always looked up to him. So yeah, I would say my dad. It'd
Awesome.
have to be my dad. He was a great example how to be a husband, provider, a father, a friend. So yeah, I would say my father.
Awesome. All right. So, I also know something about you that you love the sport of golf.
Yes.
Now, if you didn't have golf as your sport of choice, what would be your other hobby, do you think?
My other hobby, um, I don't know.
Golf is it.
Golf is it now. I fell in love with the game. I don't know. Maybe I used to play video games. I don't play as often as I used to.
Mhm.
But so again, I grew up playing sports, so I need
Mhm.
that. I need something to
Yeah.
do. So I don't know if it'd be bowling,
Mm.
maybe working out. Maybe I need to stop golfing so I can get in the gym or something. Um, but that I need something to get my competitiveness out,
Okay.
because
Sure.
that's is I'm competitive. It's in my nature.
Okay.
So that golf is so challenging, and
Mm.
it's just me. I can't blame nobody else for a bad shot or anything like that, or not
Right.
doing their
Yeah.
job. So yeah, it helps me get my competitive nature out. I don't know. I'll probably be playing Uno, or I don't know, anything, Monopoly. It's something to
Something.
compete. I like to win.
Okay. All right. All right. Now, I've asked APGT and, of course, AP Ed, do they prefer preaching or teaching? Do you have a preference?
I prefer teaching.
That's the same thing APGT said.
I prefer preaching. I mean
Okay.
teaching.
Hmm.
I like the interaction.
Okay.
Um, the conversational. Now I do love preaching.
Hmm.
I love a good hoop and a holler. I wish I could do it like
Mm.
some of these other guys. I do. I think it has its place, and I think it's beautiful. But I think teaching is what really grows people. I think
Mm.
the preaching kind of inspires, but I
Okay.
think if you want to grow, you need solid teaching.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Would you say that you are more of an introvert or extrovert? And does this impact your ministry in any way?
Um, I think I'm an introvert.
Okay.
I may be the most extroverted introvert
Introvert.
that that there can be.
Sure.
Um, you know, I kind of like to sit and watch
Hmm.
and see what's happening. So I'll stay laid back, as long as I can.
Okay.
I think I've learned how to put on the hats. So if I
Mm.
have to be one way,
Yeah.
put the hat on, to do that. But yeah, I don't mind being by myself. My wife probably thinks I'm an extrovert, because I do like people.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
do. But I like it in the way I like it, if
Okay.
that makes sense.
It does. It makes
I'm not
perfect
just going
sense.
to the mall and just talking to,
Sure. Sure.
anybody and
Sure.
everybody,
Yeah.
so yeah. I think I'm an introvert.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's go back to the first sermon. You said your trial sermon.
Hmm.
Okay. So how did that go? And does anything stand out in your mind about that? moment?
Ooh. Um,
Because how long ago was that?
I started preaching 2012.
Okay.
So 12 years ago. I don't have a good memory. I do not have a good memory. I just remember being very nervous. I preach, don't give up, heaven is expecting you.
Oh, I
Um,
love that.
yeah, when he says, I'm going to prepare a place for you, and if I
Yeah.
come back. So yeah, I preached that. Um, it was something.
Okay.
I know I was up there that long.
Okay.
It was a lot of support from family and friends and stuff like that. I remember feeling loved.
That's awesome.
But I probably did terrible.
No.
I probably did terrible. There's a video somewhere around, but I
Oh,
haven't seen it since
a long
probably,
time.
yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, I probably did terrible.
Okay. We'll have to find that video. All right. Awesome. Okay. What do you think is the most challenging book of the Bible to preach on and why?
Probably Revelation.
Mm.
I feel like Revelation, if you grew up as a pew baby like me, I was always scared of it.
Mm.
It's probably to this day,
Yeah.
like it's just, but
It's a
all the
lot.
symbolism and all that
Yeah.
type of stuff, I think to preach from it, I think it may be a little more difficult. It may be a thing that you probably have to sit down and teach and break down and do series and stuff like
Absolutely.
that. So yeah, I'll probably say Revelation.
Yeah, you should do a series. That would be great.
I'll leave that to Eddie P.
All right. What's the best piece of advice that you've received that you hold on to even till this day?
The best piece of advice that I've received. Um, it's real simple, right? It's just sometimes you just got to keep going.
Mm,
You just got to keep going. There's
yeah,
a lot of stuff that happens from day to day, moment to moment,
yeah,
um, and we can't stop. Sometimes you just have to keep going,
yeah,
um, and that even applies to leadership. Somebody told me, hey, you have to remain faithful even when they don't,
yeah, yeah,
and
for
that's been
sure.
kind of my thing, to just make sure I show up. So just show up, put forth your best effort.
Yeah,
It'll get you a long way.
awesome, awesome advice. All right, let's see here. Just a few more.
You fine.
All right. So you have work, you have family, you have a beautiful wife,
Yes.
you have young children. How do you find the time and all of that to worship and study His Word? Like, how has that worked out for
Yeah,
you?
so I think it's you make time for what's important to you, for what's important. Um, I fortunately have a very flexible job,
Okay.
so that's really the benefit,
Mm-hmm.
very flexible. So I may be working for 1 hour, then I can just kind of flip my mind,
Yeah.
study a little bit. So yeah, I think it's you just have to make time, right? And sometimes you just have to get away, right? Just close the door,
Mm-hmm.
get your alone time and your devotion with the Lord.
Awesome. All right. Do you have any well, serious question. Do you have any cares, concerns that you have with having young children growing up in today's society, today's world? Like, what are some of your concerns for them?
It's a lot of them. I think we're living in some dark and evil times. I think it's only gonna get worse
Yeah,
before it gets better.
yeah,
It's really just trying to. I think it's finding the balance of what to expose them to,
mm-hmm.
keeping them not sheltered, but protected in a sense. So
Yeah,
trying to find that balance. Um, we're they're going to be technology kid. TJ can work the
yeah,
iPad probably better than me.
mm-hmm.
He's
Mm-hmm.
downloading stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm getting email notifications. Thank you for your subscription. And
subscription.
he's only 3,
Wow.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
So I mean, it's the fear of that. They
yeah, for
have a lot
sure.
more access.
Yeah,
I
so
think about some of
much.
the things I got into, and I didn't have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
access.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just trying to find that balance between exposing them to the right things and
Yeah,
trying to keep them.
one
Because I
way or
think
the other.
the enemy
Yeah.
thinks, if they can get them while they're young,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just yeah, I'm school. We're coming up on preschool and stuff, so I'm
Yes,
like,
you are.
just sending them and like, they looking at programs. They like, hey, send them all day, every day, and I'm like, no, I'm
No.
not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Yeah.
Just a couple of hours. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just it's trying to, release them, release them into the world. And I'm
Yeah.
just like,
It's
he
not
can stay here
easy.
with me. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
not
but yeah, it's
easy.
just that exposure and that protection part,
For sure.
trying to manage that and see how we can control that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Do you think you had a turning point in your life where you clearly understood that life is nothing to play with?
Yes.
Okay.
Um, so I was um, in school, and I kind of started messing around with the wrong crowd. Um, and so during, like I said, I had came home from, from college,
Mm-hmm.
and before we left, it was a big old situation with some stuff being stolen, right? And I got involved into it too. Not so much that I had took, not that I had took anything, but I had opened up the door for them to come in.
Okay.
Opened up the
Okay.
door for them to come in. Our
Okay.
college, I went to a private school, um, private, so it was very small.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't get into the dorm without somebody
Somebody
letting
open
you
it.
in. So
Okay.
I ended up letting them in. They took some stuff. My name got into it,
Mm.
um, and I got arrested on Christmas Eve.
Oh my word.
Got because my name was
Was
connected
connected to that.
with them,
Wow. Oh my
right?
goodness.
Right. It was Christmas Eve, and
Oh.
my school was 5 hours away. They came
Oh.
5 hours away, and they had got everybody that was in connection with the
Okay.
situation.
Oh
Um,
my word.
and so I had got saved like the week before.
Oh,
I got saved the week
right.
before.
Okay.
And so they came. So this is all during the same
Oh,
break. It happened
okay.
right before we left, to go to the little break or whatever. I got saved maybe about the week before. And I had the realization, like, hey, every action has a reaction.
Reaction. Yeah.
And sometimes just because you saved don't mean that you're gonna get off. You have to
Yeah.
pay the price.
Yeah.
But I remember sitting there, and I was only in there for a couple of hours,
Okay.
type of deal. But it was the
Still,
loneliest
yeah,
I
I was
had,
going to say.
have ever felt cold, you know what
Ooh.
I mean? And I was just like, hey, like, Lord, if you get me out of this, I was crying, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? That
yeah.
type of deal. But I meant it,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Um, it's like, like, hey, I'll really walk this walk.
Yeah.
Um, and so, I kind of felt it, when I got saved, but it just all kind of hit
Mm.
me like, hey, like this is like, you gotta be for real, for real. So
Wow.
yeah, that was kind of like my turning point.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
that
I
was
was
a
like,
huge
yeah.
turning
And I was
point.
like, and again,
Wow.
that was when I decided like, hey, I'm not going back to that
Yeah,
school. It was just, let's stay home. And
makes sense.
yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Wow. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that.
Yep.
All right. Okay, I think this is gonna be my last one. Okay, let's. What is a funny moment? Okay,
Mm.
that you can share that happened to you or your family that still makes you laugh even when you think about it today?
Oh man, that happened to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, what makes you something that still make you just crack up and laugh?
Uh, Most times it's about other people. I got some jokes for days for other people. um, I don't know. Yikes. Okay, I tell you. Okay, um, we used to have Monday night prayer here in New Liberty.
Okay.
And it used to be in the fellowship hall.
Okay.
And Pastor was even preaching today. He was talking about how we used to have the blue chairs with the
Right.
newspapers and stuff.
Yes.
But then I think the young people used to have like pizza and prayer, or maybe something like that. Brother Josh was over it.
Okay.
And then there would be prayer, but there would be like devotional and kind of testimonies, or somebody would do words of inspiration or something. And I was singing. Um, and I messed up this song so bad. And if it'd probably take Brother Josh for you to tell you, I think it was Amazing Grace shall always be that song of praise.
Okay.
For it was grace, that song.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow my voice started cracking, and everybody was just looking like, it was like, bless him, Lord. And it was like, and that's like the worst thing you can do. And I was so embarrassed
Oh.
to this day. It makes me laugh every time I think about it. So much so that I've probably never sung that song in church again because of what happened. And it was just, everybody. I think I took everybody out the spirit. It was just, it was that bad. My voice started cracking, and I think Brother Josh was trying to figure out what key I was probably going to, or probably in Z or something like that. But it was bad. It was very bad. And again, I probably never sung that song again in church to this day. And that had to be at least about 13 years ago. So
you should sing it again.
Nope.
You should
sometimes you practice stuff in the shower in your car and you think it sounds good, but then when you get on that microphone, it's
well, you have a beautiful voice, so I think you should revisit the song.
I leave that to the singers. I like to sing. I can't sing.
What?
Yeah, I don't consider myself a singer.
Really? I think you do a fantastic job.
I think I'm a okay praise and worship leader. And I don't think you have to be a good singer to be a worship leader, if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
So I don't consider myself to be a singer. Well, thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your time.
Yes,
Thank you so much for being with us. And New Liberty family, I pray that you know more about AP Trent Noble. And I pray that you were blessed by this and inspired. And I pray that you laughed as well. So we are so happy that you joined us.
Thank you.
See you next time. Thank you again.
Thank you.
One of the servants, send me a donkey, for I have to go see the man of God. Her husband asked her, what are you doing? Why are you going to see him now? For it is not the Sabbath. But her response is, it shall be well. You missed it. Her son dies. She puts him in the room that she had made for Elisha, the man of God. Her husband asks her, baby, what's up? Her response is, it shall be well. You missed it. She does not even tell her husband that his son is dead. Why? Because I believe she's dealing with a dead situation that she is not yet ready to bury. She has this resolve about her that just because it's dead, it does not mean that I have to give up on it. I know you don't like it because you want a new word, you want a new revelation, you want a new prophecy, you want a new miracle. We always want something new, and I like the new, but there are some ideas, there are some dreams, there are some visions, there are some plans, there are some relationships that have died, and I need the Lord to resurrect them. Don't always need something new. Just need him to breathe on what died.